We don't really have a goat in this fight. It's just like,
goat in this fight.
I don't know, like the Simpsons meme with like the monkeys fighting each other with knives, and one of the guys around the side throwing cash in, like keep going.
Yeah.
And the leftists, so the monkeys, one side is the leftist intersectionalist types, and the other side is the Islamic types, and I just found it amazing because like it's
fight.
So we reported on this before. So this lady was appointed to the Muslim Council of Britain as the General Secretary. And she's very, very inclusive. Very, very inclusive. So
what Mrs. Zara Mohammed is this?
So this is Sadiq Khan tweeting in support of her appointment with a quote saying, "My vision is to continue to build a truly inclusive, diverse and representative body driven by the needs of British Muslims for the common good." And you can see how it's couched in the language of intersectionality.
Intersectional language, yeah.
It's cringe. And we've always thought, like, what's going to happen because the Islamic movement in the UK and Islamist types have always buddied with the Labour Party and the intersectionalist types, and of course they're meant to be a direct opposite.
Exactly, that's the thing, right? So this has been a long-standing question on the internet: who's going to win, the Muslims or the progressives, right? And I put my money on the progressives, and everyone's like, no, the Muslims will bring back patriarchy. I'm like, don't you be so sure? Don't you be so sure? And
the progressive will is much stronger, it seems.
The linguistic tools that the progressives have to conquer territory in the public domain are very, very powerful. But sorry, Karen.
So we had the joke of like, well, we're all for inclusivity and diversity. Miss Sarah, I hope to see the Jewish board directors of the Muslim Council of Britain very soon.
Some Catholic ones as well.
Catholic ones.
Maybe even a Protestant.
A couple of atheists for no reason.
Yeah. Well, it's diversity.
Let's see what happens.
I would like to be appointed, to be honest.
Oh, man. So not much has happened, but then the first incident of this new war is taking place, and the alliance is just crippling. Like I don't think this is going to last a year by the looks of it. So this was BBC Woman's Hour, because of course the BBC has a specific Woman's Hour for reasons, and it's hosted by this lady here, Emily Barnett, who is an interesting character, and she has Zara on to discuss the fact that she's become the new intersectionalist leader of the Muslims, I guess, in Britain. Just to point out as well, the Muslim Council of Britain is not representative of British Muslims. Like, British Muslims in any poll do not find this group representative.
It's something like 3% of them support them.
It's the politicised wing of Islam in the UK, so that's why it gets counted this way. So they do this interview, and I want to play a bit of it. We're not going to play the full thing, just so you can get a flavour. So this is her asking how many Imams in the UK are women.
How many female Imams are there in the UK at the moment? Just because I presume we'll get to this more, but representing, of course, women, which you will do as part of this, how many do we have in Britain?
I mean, I think, again, I wouldn't have a clue on these numbers, because my role is making sure that we include our affiliates, particularly women, in the work that we are doing, and making sure that our structures, as well as the work we do, are truly representative. So I think that
you don't know. That's fine if you don't know. But do we have female imams in this country?
I mean, again, it's not. Are you referring to chaplains, or are you referring to women that lead the prayer? What are you referring to? And I think,
well, you tell me. I'm genuinely intrigued to know. Of course, female priests have been around for some time. We've also seen the advent of female rabbis in this country. What is the picture for women leading prayer in Britain in Muslim communities?
Well, I think my role isn't really to adjudicate or to examine that part of spirituality. I think where women want to make those choices, and where, that these are all religious discussions.
Oh, no, of course. It was just, I thought, because the Muslim Council of Britain's played such an important role in getting the number of Muslims, for instance, added to the census. I mean, that was done at the turn of the century, so we actually knew how many Muslims there were. Do we have female imams?
I think what's really important for the Muslim Council of Britain, the work that we do, is actually...
She has no answer for her, and you can see that she looks really much on the back foot there, doesn't she? Like Emma is going on the attack. She's leaning in. She's like, where are the female imams? Where are the female imams? And this woman looks like she's being crushed under the weight of this assault.
Really spooked. And I think she is spooked because this is a leftist domain, BBC Women's Hour, especially Emma herself.
Totally.
And her coming at this as a sort of intersectionalist new Muslim type, I imagine was expecting a friendly interview or something non-difficult, and instead she's been thrown out with where are the female imams. I was like, oh, shit.
You're not meant to be asking this. Why are you asking me that?
Yeah, so just to make the point about Emma, because many people won't know her, like I want to play this clip of her talking to Anne Widdecombe. So Anne Widdecombe at the Brexit Party.
Yes.
And this is pathetic, just to get a flavour of this kind of stuff this woman believes.
It is total white privilege on your part to use the word oppression in such a easy, cavalier manner. You're playing to the gallery.
Anne Widdecombe's face. Just like, I'm so sick of this job.
But I love that. Using the word oppression is playing to the gallery. You do nothing but that.
You're a leftist.
Yeah,
Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, your entire stock in trade is victimhood and oppression.
And like Emma has given a rough time to some people in the Labour Party in her interviews because she's Jewish and therefore hates
Jeremy
anti-Semitism.
Corbyn,
But I guess that's fair. But she's also got a weird background, so you can do your own research into her. I won't go too far into it. But she's a leftist type hosting a partisan show, whether she likes it or not.
A leftist partisan show.
Yeah, and this lady did not get an easy time on it. And of course, this awokened a lot of responses. The first,
Awokened a lot of us. I like that.
So a few of these responses were from normal people. So here's Andy pointing out, why doesn't just Zara answer the question? Like, why doesn't she? And we all know the answer, as Yasmine Mohammed points out.
And I just want to say the based and red-pilled Muslim answer is 0, like God willed it.
Yeah, that would be the response.
Yeah.
But she can't do that because she's an intersectional Muslim. So she's finding herself at a crossroads.
God was wrong about the number of female imams. That's the intersectional opinion. God was wrong, we're right.
Yeah, that's their opinion. And Yasmine Mohammed pointing out here that 0, the answer is 0. Love my zeros. There are no female imams in the UK. Just answer the question. It's really cringe and transparent. Totally true here. And one of the interesting things is I assume...
Oh, no, hang on. Hopefully there are Muslim women willing to push back against the misogynistic edicts that prohibit women from the role. Yes, indeed. Those misogynistic edicts from Muhammad, speaking with the received wisdom of the angel Gabriel that comes direct from the lips of God himself. Misogynistic edicts. They need to be pushed back. Muslim women strike me as the kind of people who'll be pushing back on the commandments of Allah. Obviously.
So Yasmin actually gave a couple of links here, which are interesting. So the answer for the UK apparently is 0, as in we don't have any female imams. But there are some on the continent, which is rather interesting. Noticeably not on...
Which continent?
Not on the Middle Eastern section of the
not
world.
Asia or Africa.
But on the European side of this. So this is an article she linked in here, which was quite interesting. So there's an American and a Danish convert to Islam. So
right.
They grew up in America and Denmark, not being Muslims, converted to Islam, and they're now women imams.
They didn't grow up in the Middle East.
Oh, no, they didn't.
And they're not women imams in the Middle East.
And they mention in here that there's an increasing movement, largely within progressive groups, of women imams promoting a more inclusive vision of Islam within a mixed gender religious space.
Based.
It's like progressive groups are doing this. Oh, okay. So it's sort of like it definitely is coming from the outside in.
Oh, yeah.
It's not growing in from the inside.
Very clearly.
And apparently there was also a inclusive mosque initiative in the UK, which is very weird.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about this.
So this is a lady in Germany who's being honoured for similar kind of activities. So she's getting the, I don't know how to say this, sorry, Urina Honor? I don't know how to say, but it's the president here gives a quote about what it is, and it's an award for important social justice warriors. I was just like,
It's
okay.
literally called for important social justice warriors.
An honour, it's okay. Like they're just using the term SJW now. Great, thanks. We don't have to argue about it anymore. That's nice. But she gives a quote here. So she set up a place where she's, I assume, the female imam, and it's more inclusive of homosexuals, let's say, for example.
Yeah.
And she gives a quote of what it's like to do this job. I can't just leave my house and go shopping. If it wasn't for a police protection, I wouldn't be able to do my job at all. Without police protection, you can't even voice your opinion. Not even in Germany.
I guess it's the far right that's threatening her on a daily basis that makes her require a police guard.
We have to assume, I guess, they're coming after her for promoting LGBTQ+, or
Presumably.
whatever else. And then the inclusive mosque initiative, what I wanted to mention here was something she also linked, which is sort of a more UK-based initiative. So they're trying to promote this intersectional
Look at
Islam.
that description. An intersectional feminist mosque with the aim of establishing a place of worship for the promotion and practice of an inclusive Islam. I told you they're going to take Islam, repackage it in progressivism, and annihilate it.
Sell it back to you.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sort of reminded of Christopher Hitchens actually talking about how, the barbarians will only come when the gates are held open for them. And I'm thinking he was putting it in a context of atheism being subverted by
the West being subverted by theocrats,
I kind of feel bad for the Muslims, mate.
You didn't know what you were getting into. The corruption that we're facing, the moral corruption we're facing, is unlike anything the Islamic world is prepared for. I'm warning them now, and you ain't going to be able to stop it.
And this isn't because we're in favor of misogynistic practices within Islam or homophobic practices within Islam. Liberals don't.
Yeah, speak for
not
yourself.
Fans of this. Okay.
No, I'm joking.
But the as I said, it was sort of like the guys on the side throwing money in as the monkeys fight each other. We're just like, this is just weird, and I have to.
What it is if you want Islam to exist, right, you have to accept that it has certain attitudes towards certain things. So it has a particular opinion on women, on men, on religious worship, on the right ordering of the world, and the progressives disagree with that in every single way possible. They consider that to be patriarchal, to be misogynistic, oppressive, blah, 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 blah. They'll doubtless end up calling it things like Arab supremacy and things like this when they are far enough down the road. And this is the beginning of them, the corruption seeping in to Islam. And the Muslims just should be aware. You're infected. Good luck.
I mean, your doctrines are an exact opposite of what's being promoted here. So, for example, in the Quran, it literally says of the people of what's meant to be Sodom and Gomorrah in English. I think they use Lot instead. Kill them. Kill the ones who are doing, kill the ones in being consumed. That's the wording. It's
Which we disavow the Quran.
This isn't my opinion. I'm not a fucking Quranic scholar or anything, but that's what's being claimed by the text that cannot be changed. And yet, like the
literal word of God,
the inclusive mosque initiative has a page about LGBT plus family members and how to support them, which is the next link, talking about our.
Well, hang on a second. Are we allowed to show that on screen? Because that might be quite violent. I mean, I don't know what their opinions are.
But there's the thing. It's just like, well, I'm not involved. I don't care either way with these people. But these things cannot go together. They do not fit, in my opinion. You seem to be going up against a brick wall.
Definitionally, they don't fit, but
that doesn't stop the progressives.
Well, they redefine everything. The whole point is the redefinition of words has allowed the progressives to get where they are. And so if they can redefine, white
the people of
women,
Lot are actually the people of London.
Well, the people of Lot will end up being the true Muslims, the real Muslims. Because remember, there is no such thing as gender. Gender is very malleable. There's no such thing as sexuality. It all exists on a spectrum. And so who is a person of Lot really anyway? I mean, it could be you, could be me. If you've ever looked at a man or something and not gone and said your prayers afterwards, maybe you're gay. Is there anyone who's really straight? And so suddenly Islam finds itself dissipating under the attack on the definitions that it holds itself up by.
Yeah, and this is what I would have expected the response to be from the leftists, which is, well, the inclusive mosque initiative exists, and yes, we ought to push for female imams.
Yes, we should.
I'm expecting this is what Emma was expecting as well, that everyone was going to back her up on this. Sure. Like, right, we're going to continue pushing progressivism into Islam in the same way that Zara getting into a position was. No. The leftists have completely abandoned her and backed off and said,
really?
No, Islam is not to be touched in this way,
Ooh.
at least in the first battle. So the highest voted response in response to this clip was this here. This lady's saying she's so angry.
Sorry, Faiza Shaheen. Right, okay. So she's a Londoner.
Probably Muslim.
I'm so angry at this. Pure ignorance from the presenter. Why have you clipped it? Trying to cater for the Islamophobic Twitter crowd. Clickbait for a culture war you support. You should be ashamed. Much respect to Zara for keeping her cool and pushing back.
The progressives. Very much the Islamophobic Twitter crowd.
Yes.
Got them there. If you scroll down a little bit, her follow-up response.
Yes, the Islamophobic culture war that the BBC supports. Yeah.
Was saying that anyone should complain to the BBC because she dared to ask how many female imams there are, with the obvious answer being 0.
Yeah, but Faiza, how many are there? I'm just curious. Yeah. I just want the number.
I mean, endlessly, a bunch of these responses that I'm not going to bother, I'm just going to say instead, was just like, how many female priests are there? How many female bishops? There are. Those living in the Islamic world who don't know. This intersectionality took over Christianity a long time ago.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm actually sympathetic to your position on this, but you've lost that battle already.
Yeah, like even the Pope, I think in 2021, like a month ago or something, the Pope did the first female bishop. So it's not even just priests.
Oh yeah, and the Pope,
He's a progressive.
he is. He came out against the condemnation of homosexuality as well, didn't he?
I think he abandoned purgatory as well.
Yeah.
It's just like all these Christian teachings in the garbage.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I mean,
I'm not even a Christian. I'm an atheist, but
well,
it's just
not
weird.
even, they're not even Christian. These are Catholic teachings, specifically Catholic, and there's a lot of Catholic teaching that is nonsense, obvious dogma that's built up over the centuries. But again, like with the Muslims, like I'm an atheist, and if I was not an atheist, I'd be a Protestant. But as an atheist, looking at the Catholics and looking at the Muslims, I'm like, guys, this is going to eat you up. You understand? This is coming for you. It's already attacking the foundations, and it will eat you up.
So the continued attack after this was that basically it's white feminism, which so this
I mean, yes.
response here: white feminism is harmful.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the next one was
From
basically the same
Shireen
thing.
Ahmed.
This
Yep.
was the second upvoted most comment.
From Samina Yasmine. This is absolutely vile. When I think Emma Barnett, I can't possibly get any worse. She does. For anyone who doesn't seem to understand, this isn't even white feminism. It's white supremacy. That's really... I mean, isn't this woman Jewish? Like, so accusing
Emma,
her...
yeah, she is.
accusing
but
her...
I presume they don't know.
Well, I guess they don't know, but like they're accusing a Jewish woman of being a white supremacist.
She's got white privilege by their standards. By
Yeah,
her own
but by
standards.
being you Jewish woman, you're a Nazi, is not a good look, in my opinion.
It's not a very effective attack either.
No,
That's the point.
But the point is, like, no one thinks that she's a Nazi. No one thinks she's upholding this.
But it wasn't just, random people, and there are loads of check marks I didn't have time for, but
Yeah.
I'll just do the most important ones. So this is a Good Morning Britain host, so this is a TV show in the UK that gets loads and loads of views, saying that this is very strange. Imams don't have the same roles as priests. Females lead prayers all the time. Why is it being leveled at Zara? If it's about sexism, level it at men, not a woman making change. I mean, she's the representative of the Muslim Council of Britain, mate. Do we have to ask this of the Catholic Church? Yes, and it's been done. Why is the BBC doing clickbait?
Oh my god!
What?
Right, this is such a shotgun scattershot of like
He's got nothing. Like, he knows he's got nothing, so he's just like shooting around, trying to get something.
But Adil Ray, whoever he is, right? You've finally arrived at the position that we had arrived at like 5 years ago, right? Saying that imams don't have the same role as priests. Well, then what difference? Why not just say the zero then? Proudly zero, if that's no problem. Females lead prayers all the time, yeah, but not imams, which was the question. Why is this being leveled at Zara? Because she's the leader of the Muslim Council of Britain. Level at the men. What do we ask this of the Catholic Church? Yes, much to their chagrin. And why is the BBC doing clickbait? Yeah, that's a really good question. Since we're forced, yeah, exactly. Can we speak to the man in charge? Like
Thanks, Adel.
Yeah. But like, why is the BBC doing clickbait? Yeah, good point. Since they're not funded by adverts, they're funded by taxpayers, and they shouldn't have to do clickbait. Well done.
Because they're doing propaganda.
You've arrived on the based and red-pilled side of things, Mr. Adil, in your defense of Islam against feminism.
This was the guy that Constantine was arguing against, who was like, why don't you think you're English? And he was like, because I was born in Russia. I grew up in Russia.
Yeah.
Why would I think I'm English?
But you're a Londoner, aren't you? Well,
But you live in London. It's like, yeah, so? Like Constantine's just like a normal person in the room. Around my
Well, he really was, though. He was the one normal person in the room where they're all like a bunch of radical, boggle-eyed leftists.
I'm currently in London, therefore I'm an Englishman. It's like, it's not how that works, fella. Sorry to tell you.
And the thing is, though, there's also a darker implication in that as well. The implication is that people who weren't born in England shouldn't come here as well. And if you're not identifying as that thing and you're living here, then there's something wrong. And it's like that foreigners can live in
Conversation for another
England.
time,
Yeah, I know. But he needs to think about where he's going with this.
Yeah, so he wasn't the only person in the media. So another one here was the Jacobin magazine writers. This is a socialist magazine. Their response to this.
Communists.
So you would expect them to be in support of Emma here, but no. This is gotcha journalism and Islamophobia. So this has to be denounced. I could barely find any female rabbis and no female Catholic priests. That's a lie. So they're throwing Emma under the bus, and it's not just one magazine. It's also a Buzzfeed editor retweeted this, poking in here, also denouncing Emma as not being a proper journalist.
Right. This is very interesting because it implies that on the totem pole of oppression, women are below Muslims.
Yes, because they are in the totem pole of oppression.
Oof.
sorry, women, but you lost. And it's not just media types; the political types had to get involved. So the Labour Party made a statement through through Naz Shah.
Oh God, yeah, okay.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why she doesn't just delete Twitter at this point. So there's a thing to be said here. So Naz Shah, for people who don't know, she is mainly known for two things she got in trouble for. The first one, which was a post on Facebook with like, the Jews of the UK need to be moved to America, and then the words problem solved.
I didn't even know about that.
It's just like, Jesus Christ. So she got suspended for a little while for that, but then brought back in, of course. And now she's in charge of like community cohesion.
Right.
Which is the most amazing.
Yeah.
And of course, the one saying that girls who are being raped by Muslim grooming gangs should keep their mouths shut for the sake of diversity, retweeting that message, and then getting appointed as the women's minister in response. Love the Labour Party. So
Labour, there's something wrong with you.
So I'm looking at this and I'm seeing all the emojis and I'm like, there's no way she wrote this. Like all the tags.
Yeah.
So, like she's got a social media manager now who now writes this for her, I think. But even then, like she's siding with the Muslim Council of Britain and sort of denouncing the host. Saying,
let me say, I can't even pass what I'm reading here. A Muslim woman, Zara, achieved something unprecedented. Muslim Council. Instead of celebrating her being a role model, we get this downward pointing. From our national broadcaster, shrug, and every Muslim girl listening or watching says, why bother? Thank you, BBC Women's Hour. So we've got two women, both in positions of power and influence. One on the BBC, one heading the Muslim Council of Britain. And Naz Shah is like, oh, girls are going to be discouraged from getting into public life because of this.
Because the women are debating.
Because of female representation. I mean, I didn't say it. If I'd said it, I'd be called a misogynist. Naz Shah says it, and everything's hunky-dory. Okay.
But I also just hate, I bet this isn't her. Like, I don't want to labour on this point too much. But who writes like this? Like, who writes a tweet like that?
Well, I mean,
with emojis? It's weird.
Chelsea Manning?
I don't follow her.
And there's good reason for that.
Anyway, so the next one is also the former leader of the Welsh independence, is saying that we need to talk about intersectional feminism, because apparently the problem here is, of course, that Muslims are higher than women on the intersectional feminism agenda, and therefore throw Emma under the bus, throw women under the bus. Islam is supreme.
So we're throwing the Jewish woman under the bus. To what, for Naz Shah's feelings? What, for the Muslim Council of Britain's feelings? I mean, I don't know. But Leanne Wood, I can't help but notice that you're a white Welsh woman, so maybe you need to be quiet.
Or maybe just give up your position.
Or just honestly, I don't think this is worth fighting, mate. You know, just stay out of it. You're going to get in trouble.
But this is again, like they're paying for the rope that will hang them.
Yes.
And the last one here is from Ash Sarkar, because of course she's got to get involved. She's got to give her opinion on it.
Ash Sarkar, famous for being a communist that gets invited on Good Morning Britain and the BBC. Hang on, we're not finished condemning Ash Sarkar yet. Who when speaking about the population demographic changes of Britain, said famously, quote, "We're winning, lads." Carry on, Ash. What did you have to say?
So she didn't think this was a legitimate question to ask.
No. I don't think this was an illegitimate question to ask, but its presentation as a gotcha displays really profound ignorance of how Muslim spiritual leadership works, i.e. it's complicated and not analogous to either the Anglican or Catholic Church. Well, I mean, Ash, question, are you a Muslim? Because I've seen you drinking on streams, beer, and you had fornicates like a champion written in your Twitter bio, which I believe you have actually removed at this point. So, I mean, if we're going to take lessons on being a Muslim from anyone, it ain't you. Secondly, your argument is just, it's okay when we do it.
But that's the thing, like all of these responses, if not explicitly or at least tepidly on the side of the Muslim Council of Britain, completely throwing the argument of intersectionalism and we need more female imams because women are half the population, therefore they must be half of the baby murderers, this kind of argument. That's what they're arguing. They're like, they must be half of the CEOs. Well, okay, they must be half of the baby murderers then. Is that what you want? Is that what's important? No. But they've all gone for the side of, no, we're not going to push intersectionality. They've all abandoned it.
Weird.
Islam 1, intersectionist 0, I guess.
Damn.